Olá! Hello everyone! Tudo bom, gente? Welcome to this class. Today is the third class of the Brazilian Portuguese Week. I'm so happy to be here with you today. Let me know if you guys can see me and hear me well. Let me see who is here. Roberto, Tino, Kevin, Tegar, tudo bem? Stacy, Philip, Shannon. Oi, Shannon! Joshua, Cristina, olá! So good to see you all here. Sandra, Alicia, Yorn, Margus. Tudo bom, gente? Let me know if you guys can see me and hear me well. Tudo certo? Is everything all right? Muito bom. Sophia, Ryan. So happy to be here. So before we start, I would like to explain a few things about the Brazilian Portuguese Week because I received some messages. Some students are a little bit confused about where to find the classes and the material. So this event is completely free, but to have access to the material and the replays, you have to sign up and on my website, okay? It's completely free. You don't have to add any credit card, but all the replays, all the videos, everything and the material that I prepared for each class is only available on the website. So you have to create an account if you have not already. So go to my website, speakingbrazilian.com, or go directly to the Brazilian Portuguese Week page, brazilianportugueseweek.com, and sign up if you have not already, okay? So I host the classes on YouTube, but most of the videos, they are not public on YouTube. They are called unlisted, which means that you need the link to be able to see the video. So that's why some students yesterday was asking, oh, I cannot find the class. Where is the video? That's because the link was only available to students who have signed up for the event. Okay, if you sign up, you receive an email from me 1 hour prior to each class, and also you have access to all the material and replays on the website. So if you have not signed up yet, I recommend you do. And if you do, remember that the lessons are not public on YouTube. You have to log into the website to see the link, the correct links and the material for class. Tá bem? Another question that I received from students, how to use the live chat. So the live chat is a tool from YouTube. It's an amazing tool, YouTube Live. So even if you watch the video from my website, you have to click on the YouTube link to be able to see the live chat. Okay, so remember to do that. If you are on my website watching this and you cannot find, oh, where can I type? Where is the live chat? Just click the YouTube link, you find the YouTube name, and then you see the image will pop up and you see the chat on your right side, usually. Tá bem? I hope that helps. So let's talk about today's class. Today's class is on pronunciation. We are going to talk about how to pronounce open and closed sounds. More specifically, how to pronounce the vowel O. We have many variations of this vowel in Portuguese. I'm going to talk about all the variations and give you some tips on how to pronounce the open and closed sounds, how to identify, how to know if you should pronounce the vowel open or closed. So I think this class will be useful for many of you who struggle with this detail of the Brazilian Portuguese pronunciation. Oi, Ruchi. Oi, Richard. Aline. So guys, of course, as always, Aline is in the chat. Aline is our client care coordinator, and she'll help me answer your questions. If you have any questions about the school, my courses, anything, Portuguese, she's Brazilian, so she can also help you with your Portuguese. Muito bom. Olá, Juan. O primeiro live há mais de ano. Uau. Oi, Dan, Gary, Brad. Okay, I love to see all your names and faces and pictures in the chat. So let's move on to some announcements before we get started. Let me just check the announcements that I have here so I don't forget anything. Of course, the first announcement is I have new classes starting in May. I'm so excited about that, guys. I only open enrollment for my courses 3 times a year. So this is the second time. The next classes start in May, and you can sign up during this week. I open enrollment for about 1 week, so I have time. After that, I need some time to organize all the classes, the groups, because I offer live classes via Zoom in small groups, so I need time to organize all that. So enrollment is open until Saturday, April 23rd, and classes start in the first week of May. Tá bem? So the following week. And if you want to learn Portuguese with me, I highly recommend you take a look at one of these classes. Of course, I offer a lot of free material, but if you really want to commit to learning Portuguese, you should. I'm opening here, so I would like to show you the classes that I offer. Just give me 1 second. All right. So just a quick review of the quick information about the courses that you find in my school. The beginner's course is the essential course for beginners. This is a very complete and comprehensive course. So if you have been studying Portuguese just by yourself, using Duolingo or things like that, I recommend you start with this course because you really want to have a solid foundation in the language before you move to a more advanced class, okay? The second course after the beginner's course is the pre-intermediate workshop. So the first half of this course is a review of basic content, and the second half is an introduction to intermediate level content. Classes are mostly in Portuguese at this level already. The next course is the Grammar and Conversation workshop, which, as the name says, focuses on grammar. So it's a very intense grammar course. It covers intermediate and advanced level grammar. Some things are advanced. It's a very interesting course to give you a very solid foundation in Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese grammar. And after that, I recommend you join the Speaking Brazilian Academy, which is a membership course to offer you a space to practice conversation. So the Academy is not a regular course. You won't find the same structure that you find in the other course. It's a more relaxed and fun course with that focus only on conversation. So that is, if you're looking for something like that, if you want to practice Portuguese but you don't have anyone to practice with, so this is the place for you. Tá bem? If you have any questions about my courses, write down your questions and I'll have some time at the end of the class to answer questions. You can always post your question in the chat, and Aline can also help me answer your questions, tá bem? So let's quickly review the program of the Brazilian Portuguese Week. So this is the Brazilian Portuguese Week website where you can sign up. And this is the program. So the first day we talked about verb conjugation. The second day we talked about basic conversation. And today we're going to have a pronunciation training focused on open and closed sounds. So today's class is recommended for all levels. I am speaking and teaching this class in English because this class is recommended for everyone, even for beginners. So I want everyone to understand me. Tomorrow's class is also a pronunciation training. It's a class on nasal sounds, which is also something that most of my students struggle with. So tomorrow we are going to cover nasal sounds. Don't miss this class. It's also recommended for everyone. And then the next two classes are intermediate level classes. I will speak Portuguese only in class. So if your level is already intermediate or advanced, these two classes are for you. The class number 5 is on subjunctive mood, and the next one on idiomatic expressions. And in the last class, I'm going to share with you some tips on how to learn Portuguese. I'm going to share some personal experiences with you, and I'll have more time to answer questions. Okay? So that's the program. I hope you don't miss the next classes. And remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, because today I'm publishing this class publicly on YouTube, remember that to have access to all these other classes, you have to sign up. Go to my website, BrazilianPortugueseWeek.com, and sign up to have access to replays and all the other classes and material. Tá bem? Okay, so let's get started. Are you ready to practice some Portuguese? I'm going to ask you to pronounce things out loud. So if you are in a place that you should not speak out loud, try to go to somewhere else where you can speak out loud. It is very, very important to speak out loud when you are speaking Portuguese. And when you're practicing and learning any language, you have to speak out loud. Okay, that's very important. Even if you are just by yourself, that's how you practice, that's how you improve your pronunciation. You have to move your lips. In talking about pronunciation, I almost forgot. There's a very, very important announcement. If you join one of my courses by tomorrow, I'm offering a special bonus. I usually do that every time I'm offering courses. I offer a special bonus, and each time is a different bonus. And this time is a very special bonus, which is a class on accent reduction. So if you join any course, any of my regular courses by tomorrow, by the end of the day tomorrow is April 20th, you will receive this bonus, which is an accent reduction class, a pronunciation training with me via Zoom. The class will last 2 hours, so you spend 2 hours practicing and training pronunciation. I'm going to give you many exercises and tips to help you have a more fluid accent in Brazilian Portuguese. Of course, if you know me, if you've been watching my videos for a while, you know that I'm completely relaxed about accent. I think everyone has an accent. You should not be worried about losing your accent. But you also want to be understood, right? So there are many details in the language that could help you speak more naturally and sound more natural when speaking Portuguese. So that's those topics I'm going to cover in this special bonus class. I still don't know the date. I will send you the date after you sign up for the course. I will define the date. But if you sign up by tomorrow, you guarantee receiving this bonus class, an accent reduction training. Ok? Então vamos lá. Muito bom. So today is the last day for the bonus because I have to organize the. Is that a question? Porque 420? There's no why. It's just like the deadline so you can receive the bonus class. Muito bem, gente. Let's get started. Enough of announcements. That's too much. Let's move on. Vou compartilhar minha tela com vocês. I'm sharing my screen with you. And everything that I'm sharing with you is you can download from the website, okay? So these are the announcements. Did I forget anything? I talked about the bonus class. Remember to download your PDF if you have not already. Also remember I'm hosting a challenge on Instagram. It has been super fun. Some students have already completed some challenges. If you want to see, go to my Instagram account. It's Virginia_Langhammer. You find the other people's assignments, challenges, and you can also participate. And if you do, you can win a giveaway that I'm going to have this giveaway at the end of the week. And I'm going to give some lucky students a couple of comic books. So for that, you have to join the challenge. The challenge is a really fun way to practice what you've learned in this class, right? So the challenge of each day is related to the topic of the day. So today's challenge will be on pronunciation, and the last two challenges were related to the topic of the day. So you can still do all the challenges if you want, okay? The more challenges you complete, the more chances you have to win the giveaway, okay? And also, we're also having 2 giveaways today in this class, one halfway through the class and another one at the end of the class. So I hope you stay with us until the end, so maybe you have a chance of winning a Brazilian comic book, which is a really, really fun way to study Portuguese, learn vocabulary. I love these comic books. I used to read them all the time when I was a kid. Muito bom, gente. Let's get started. I see many of you are commenting. I will focus on your comments in a minute. So if you have questions, you can type your question at any time, but if I don't see them, you can just copy and paste. When I ask you, do you have questions, you can copy and paste. So I have a better chance of seeing your question. Tá bem? Tá bem means okay. So today's topic is vogais abertas e fechadas, open and closed vowels. We have that variation of open and closed vowels in Portuguese in many vowels, but the most the most complicated one for most students is the pronunciation of the letter O, right? In Portuguese, a vogal O can have at least 3 different pronunciations. I mean, actually 4. So it could be aberta, which means an open sound, O. It could be closed, O. Could be nasal, O. And many times at the end of words and in weak syllables, it sounds like U. So here you go, 4 different pronunciations of the vowel O. In this lesson, we are going to focus on the open and closed sounds, okay, which usually these 2 are the most complicated ones for students. Tomorrow, we are going to talk about the nasal sounds, which are also complicated for most students, right? Today, let's focus on open and closed O. For example, the open O, as in the word avó, and the closed O, as in the word avô. And then I can see your faces. I mean, I can imagine. Some of you, like Spanish speakers, you are like, I cannot hear the difference. I cannot. That's normal. If you don't have these sounds in your language, it's very hard for you to identify them. I have that issue with many phonemes in English and French as well, because some phonemes in English, they don't exist in Portuguese. Same thing with French. So sometimes we cannot even hear. So if you cannot hear, it's almost impossible to pronounce. So you need lots of practice to be able to overcome that. Okay, it's totally normal. Don't feel discouraged. You just need some time and practice. Okay, I hope this class will help you. So why do we say open O and closed O? Why this name? It is related to the position of your mouth. So when you are moving your lips, you have to open and close your lips to produce sounds. And the open O is pronounced with your mouth a little bit more open than the closed O. So pay attention to my lips. O, 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 O. You see, of course, when you're speaking naturally and fast, it is hard to see these details. But when I speak slowly, you can clearly see that one pronunciation the mouth has to open more to have this O sound, and it closes a little bit to have the O sound, right? So in this lesson, in this class, it is very important that you repeat with me, that you practice with me. You know, pronunciation is something that you only learn with practicing. If you just listen, you think you got it, but then when you open your mouth to speak, this sound does not come up, comes out. So you need to really practice now. I recommend that you repeat after me whenever I give you examples. Try to produce the same sounds. This is an imitation exercise. Just repeat after me. Try to imitate what I'm doing, and I promise you that will help you improve your pronunciation. Tá bem? So one more time. Let's do the 2, just the 2. I'm going to evenly just show me in the camera so you see clearly the position of my mouth. So let's start with the O, the open and the closed, okay? O, 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 O. Now let's try with the words avô, avó. Starting with the open and then the closed. Avó, avô. Avó, avô. Avó, avô. Okay? Yeah, so this example that Joshua just gave us is exactly what you find in my PDF. That's very good, Joshua. You're hired. Então vamos lá. I'm going to share my screen with you again. So, as I imagine, if you're watching this class, you can speak or at least understand English, right? I hope so. So I like to compare with English because English does have these sounds. Of course, they're a little bit different. The way that you write, the way that we interpret sounds in English is different. But you do have the same phonemes in English. So this is a very good way for you to compare. Então, por exemplo, the open A sounds exactly like the word awe in English. A-W-E, right? Am I wrong? If you speak English and if you don't agree with that, let me know. To me, it sounds exactly the same thing. Aw. And the closed O is pronounced as the letter O in many words in English, like old. O. Isn't that the same sound? O. So, O. Okay? I hope this helps you to... Oh, you know that in English we don't write this sound with the letter O. We use the letter A instead, right? But it is the same sound. It is the same phoneme. So again, the open pronunciation is and the closed O. Okay? All right, let me see in the comments here. How are you doing? Do you have any questions? So Dan is agreeing with me. It sounds the same. It's good to know. Because, English is not my native language, so I might be pronouncing something wrong. Let me see. It's more like, very good, Juan. Oh, I'm glad that is helpful. Jan, muito bom. Excelente. Okay, so you guys agree with me. That makes me happy. Okay, I know that. And then if your mother language is Spanish, of course, this is more difficult for you because Spanish does not have this difference. So it's harder for you, but don't give up. You will get this. You just need some more time and practice, okay? Então vamos lá. Let's continue. I have one more tip to give you before we move on to the next topics, which is the comparison with other vowels. So for example, the open A is closer to the letter A because we have like all these vowels, they move, the position of the mouth changes a lot, right? So the A is the most open sound, open vowel that we have in Portuguese. A. It's very open. You have to really open your mouth to have this phoneme A. And the phoneme A is closer to A. So if you need help to get this pronunciation right, you can start with A and then close your mouth a little bit. I'm gonna again show just me in the camera so you can see the position of my mouth. So you could start with A, and then close the position of your mouth to O, to doing the same pronunciation, the same A sound. If you do this, you get very close to the open O sound. Okay, I know don't do that in front of other people. People think that you're crazy. But I promise this helps. It is very close to the A sound, but the position of the mouth is it's like a circle, right? It's a little bit more closed than A. Because compared to A, the O is already a little bit closed. So, I recommend you do this exercise. I promise it will help. And talking about the closed sound, the O, it's closer to the U, right? The U sound. So you can do the exercise starting with the other way around, starting with U, and then open your mouth a little bit from there. So, ooh, ooh. So this could help you get the right pronunciation. So just remember the open A, it's closer, it's close to A. It's not the same, obviously, the position of the mouth is different, but this is an interesting exercise for you. Start with A and then try to close a little bit. And the closed O is similar, it's close to oo. So start with oo and then open a little bit. Does that help at all? Let me know in the comments. Is it too confusing for you? This is a phonetic exercise that could help you get the right pronunciation if you need help with that. Okay, let's move on. Vamos continuar. I like this comparison as well. It's like, oh, is this the closed one for you? To me, it sounds like the closed one, right? Tá, então vamos lá. I'm going to give you more examples of words and then we can practice more, Alejandra. Vamos lá. Okay. So Tino is saying that helps a lot. That's good to hear, Tino. Ótimo, que bom. Então vamos lá, sharing my screen with you. But one thing before we continue that I wanted to know, I don't want you to feel stressed about this because, most of the time, if you don't get the pronunciation perfectly correct, people will still understand you by the context, right? It is still a subtle difference. It is very clear for us Brazilians, but we know it is a subtle difference, especially if you're speaking in a natural conversation. So don't feel bad if it is very difficult for you. You can still have a conversation and be understood if you mix up these two pronunciations. Only in a small context, in a few contexts, it would be important because some words, the only difference between these words is this specific phoneme. So sometimes it could be a little bit confusing if you don't get it right? So, but most of the time it would be okay. We could hear, oh, that's not perfectly right, but I understand what you're saying. And then in other moments, then could be difficult, especially, for example, there are many words like this, like avô and avó. If you say, meu avô vem me visitar. If you say, meu avó, I will be confused. Are you saying grandma or grandpa? What do you mean here? And I cannot think of other examples now, but in some contexts, if you mix up the pronunciation, it could be confusing. The communication could be confusing. But don't worry too much about that because these are only in a few situations, okay? Most of the time, people will understand you. So let's talk about how to know. How do you know if it is open or closed? The most simple way of recognizing this is paying attention to the graphic accent. So this is the easiest rule regarding these pronunciations. So if you see the circumflex accent, which looks like this, right? It's like a hat. That indicates that the pronunciation is closed. If you see the acute accent, right, it is more like, I'm doing that wrong. Then the pronunciation is open. So the acute accent looks more like this. So this works for all vowels in Portuguese. The circumflex closes the sound and the acute accent opens the sound of the vowel. So let's see examples and practice. So now we're going to do this exercise together and I will know if you're not doing it at home. I'm watching you, so let's do this together. Practice with me. This is very important. Practice out loud, okay? So let's start with a few words using the closed sound. Remember, just like as in old, it's a very closed. It's almost like a oo, but it's a little bit less closed than oo. So let's start with, I'm going to say 3 times each word. So repeat with me. Avô, avô, avô. Por, por, por. Metro, metro, metro. Okay, so all of these have exactly the same O sound. Now let's see examples with the open O sound, like in O, right, in English. So let's do this together. Avó, avó, avó. História, história, história. Ótimo, ótimo, ótimo. So see that the last O here is at the end of a word and it is in a weak syllable. So in this case, most of the time this O sounds like a very weak U. Ótimo, ótimo. This varies a little bit depending on the accent of the person, but I would say that 90% of the time people would pronounce like U, the last O in a weak syllable. Okay, if there is no graphic accent, it is U. Certo? Vamos continuar. Let's move on. And what if, Virginia, what if there is no graphic accent? How do you know? Nobody knows. There are no rules. So this is hard, I know. So you need to learn with practice and time. But there are some tips that I can give you. But most of the time you just have to listen and repeat, and you'll learn these details, these nuances of the language with practice. You hear Brazilian speaking, and then you just, okay, that's how it's pronounced, and then you just imitate, right? But there are some tips that can help you. Let's talk about that. There are some tips, and also in some cases it depends on the accent. So I'm going to give you examples of all different situations that influence the pronunciation of the vowel O, the open O and the closed O. Before I continue, I have two questions for you, and I would love you to answer in the chat. Quais outras palavras com O aberto ou fechado você conhece? So what other words with open O and closed O do you know? So write in the chat and let me know. So this is a good way for you to think about words that you already know in Portuguese and think about these words, trying to recognize if they have open or closed sounds. Okay, so type in the comments and I can read some of the words so you can see how I would pronounce them. And also if you have so many typos here. So what words, quais palavras você não tem certeza de como pronunciar? So what words you're not sure how to pronounce? So type in the comments and I can help you with that. Okay, so this is a pronunciation class. I'll be happy to help you with your pronunciation. If you're not sure how to pronounce something, just let me know and I can help you with that. So while you think about the words and questions the words that you know using the open O and closed O, and words that you'd like to have some help to pronounce, we are halfway through the class already. Time passed so fast. So it's time for our first giveaway. Are you ready? So let me show you again the Brazilian comic books. I love these comic books, guys. So this is Cebolinha. This is the name of a character. He's super fun. Then we have Magali. Magali loves to eat. I love her. So these are children's comic books. They're very good for you to learn vocabulary, expressions, current language that is used everywhere in Brazil. And I'm going to send this to you, to the winners that win this giveaway. So now Aline is going to choose someone from the chat. So keep typing and Aline is going to send me a name for this giveaway. Vamos lá. While she does that, let's dance and drink water. So this is the rule. You have to dance and you have to drink water to keep your brain awake. Okay. I think Aline went to the restroom. Oh, no, she's back. Aline is here. Tá tudo bem. Everything is okay. So, Julia Sherry, você é a vencedora. You are the winner. So, a round of applause for Julia. Julia, you're going to receive one of these via mail. So, to email Aline, her email is school@speakingbrazilian.com, and send her your mailing address so I can mail this to you. Congratulations, parabéns! Okay, so let's continue. Now that we had this break, I hope you are awake to continue. Are you ready to practice some more Portuguese? Vamos lá. Promise me that you're going to repeat after me. This is very important. Vamos lá. Don't feel sad, Victor. Victor sent me a sad face. You still have chances to win. We are gonna have more giveaways at the end of the class and in all the other days, and also in my Instagram challenge. So you can also do the challenge to have more chances to win. So let's continue. Vamos lá. You know that these comic books are super easy to find in Brazil. So if you ever go to Brazil, I recommend you buy a couple. It's super fun way to practice Portuguese. Okay, I'm just organizing here my shirt. Sorry about that. Vamos lá. Vamos continuar. Let's continue. Vamos lá. So now let's talk, and I'm still waiting for answers for these two questions, okay? Other words that you know using the O, close O, open O, and also what words that you are not sure how to pronounce. Let me take a look at the chat to see. Ok, so vocês estão prometendo que estão falando em voz alta. Muito bom. Obrigada. That's good. So I received many promises here. Now I'm happy. Okay, so looking for the words that you sent me, I think. Okay, just looking. Gosto versus gosto. That's a very good example, Julia. So this happens a lot in Portuguese. We have a noun that has one pronunciation and a verb that has a different pronunciation, right? So gosto, the verb, is open, and gosto, the noun, is closed. Excelente. Lençóis, it's open. Excelente. Lençóis, lençóis. Excelente. Nossa is open. Muito bom. Okay. Cobra e copo. Both use the open sound, except at the end of the word, right? Cobra, copo. Excelente. Muito bom. Olha só. That's interesting. So this is a phrase that we use this a lot when you want to show something to someone or you want to explain something. It means look. But you could just say olha, or you could say olha só. Olha só. So both O's are very open. Olha só. Olha só. Olha só. We usually say this really fast, right? In natural conversation. Olha só. Olha só. So the stress of the first word is at the beginning. Olha. Olha. The rest of the word is very weak. Olha. Just the O is very strong. Olha. And só. Olha só. Olha só. I hope this helps, Richard. Retórica. Muito bom, Yorn. Retórica with the open O. Excelente. Okay, so let's move on. Let's continue. One more. Moda. Moda. Muito bom. Excelente. Okay, I love this one. From Aline. Borogodó. I wouldn't know how to explain this word to everyone. So we have borogodó. It could be I don't know. Borogodó. I think it varies depending on the accent, right? But I'm not sure. In this case, the olha só, it's hard to translate because it is an expression. Just look would be só olha. Olha só, it means look. If you translate every word, it would not translate exactly the meaning that we mean when we are using this expression. Ônibus, ônibus. Here we have it's closed, but it's also nasal. Ônibus, ônibus. It's a very nasal sound. Muito bom. Sim, pronunciar rápido é realmente um desafio. É verdade. Muito bom. Okay, so let's continue. Very good words that you guys sent me. If you still have questions about how to pronounce something, feel free to add it in the chat, and I can help you more in a few minutes, tá bem? Let's talk a little bit about the difference in pronunciation when you change the gender of words. Have you ever noticed that it changes the pronunciation of the letter O if the word is masculine or feminine? Just like avô and avó. Isn't that interesting? This is not a rule. I wanted to be very clear here. I don't want you to think that's a rule. It's not. It's just a tendency of the language. That happens many times, but not always. So it's not a rule, but I hope that helps you understand and maybe pay attention. Oh, this is open, this is closed. Let's see a list. And whenever I'm talking about this, remember that I'm not talking about the last the O at the end of words. These words, this O at the end of words, they usually are always pronounced as a weak U, okay? I'm talking about the O's that are placed in other positions in the word. So let's see examples here. The first one that I already gave you, avô, avó. So the masculine is closed and the feminine is open. So repeat after me. Avô, avó. Avô, avó. Avô, avó. So next one is sogro and sogra. Masculine, feminine. So you have noticed like the first one is closed, the second one is open, and the last one here at the end of a word is u, u. A very weak U sound. So repeat after me. Sogro, sogra. Sogro, sogra. Sogro, sogra. And the third example, porco e porca. So repeat after me. Porco, porca. Porco, porca. Porco, porca. So you see, these are three examples of words that have they have the same meaning, but one is feminine and the other one is masculine, and it changes the pronunciation, which is interesting, right? So you see that usually feminine words, they tend to have this open O, and masculine words, the closed O. Now let's talk about singular and plural words. That is something also interesting that happens in the Portuguese language, that many times the same word in singular form has the closed O, and in the plural has the open O. Why does that happen? I have no idea, but that's how things are. Again, this is not a rule, but this is a tendency of the language that happens a lot with many words. Tá bem? So let's see examples. Vamos lá. Again, you promised me, you have to repeat out loud with me. Vamos lá? Ready? I'm going to say each word 2 times. Pay attention to the difference between closed and open pronunciation. Vamos lá. Aeroporto, aeroportos. So the first column is closed and the second column is open sound, okay? Aeroporto, aeroportos. Aeroporto, aeroportos. Aeroporto, aeroportos. And a similar word, porto, portos. Porto, portos. Porto, portos. Again, remember that the last O does not follow this rule. It always has this very weak U sound, right? Aeroporto, very weak U. Porto, portus, portus. So here, it always has this weak U sound, okay? Let's move on to the next one. Repeat after me. Povo, povos. Povo, povos. Povo, povos. One more. Novo, novos. Novo, novos. Novo, novos. And remember that I just mentioned that usually feminine words are open. So what is the feminine word of novo? It's nova with an open sound. Novo, masculine. Nova, feminine. So you see there is really this tendency in Portuguese. One more example. Ovo, ovos. Ovo, ovos. Ovo, ovos. Olho, olhos. Olho, olhos. Olho, olhos. I know it's repetitive, guys, but that's how you learn. So continue. One last one. Jogo, jogos. Jogo, jogos. Jogo, jogos. Muito bom. So I remember, I think it was Julia that gave us an example with the verb gostar and the noun gosto. So the noun is gosto and the verb is eu gosto, right? Same thing happens with the verb jogar. So the noun is jogo with closed O, and the verb, when you use the verb jogar, you say eu jogo with an open O. So this is not on my list for this lesson, the variation between nouns and verbs, but this is also something that happens a lot in Portuguese. Many times, it's also not a rule, but that is something that happens a lot. Many times the noun uses a closed sound and the verb uses an open sound, especially for the first and third person singular. Eu jogo, você joga. That happens a lot. Okay, perguntas, questions? Let me take a look at the chat to see if everything is okay. So yeah, so Prosodia, you gave exactly the same example that I was mentioning. That's perfect. Okay, I just have some white space here for the comments. Oh, that's interesting. So for you, it's harder when it follows, the R follows the O. Oh, so that's interesting to know. Like porta, for example. It makes sense. Okay, então vamos lá. So let's continue. Oh, so Daniela is asking about the R, retórica. How do you pronounce the R? So the first R, retórica. Usually, this is the most common pronunciation, retórica, retórica. So the first R sounds a little bit like the American H, h, h. It could be more soft or a little bit more stronger, but it's most of the time like ha. It's an S. How do I say that? I forgot the word that I wanted to use. But it sounds it's very close to the American H sound. Retórica. The second R in this word, it's the fricative R. So you have to touch the tip of your tongue at the top of your mouth. R, r. This is very similar to the flap T in English, like the word water, the T sound in water. Retórica is the same phoneme. But it's funny, right? In English, in American English, is a T, and in Portuguese, is the R. It's the fricative R. Okay. I love this comment, Dan. Your roommates must be asking themselves, what is going on? It's okay, you are a very dedicated student. Como pronunciar as palavras em... So the LH is always pronounced the same way in Portuguese. It sounds like lha, lha. It's a sound I have never seen another language that has exactly the same sound. In Spanish, it's similar to the double L in Spanish, depending on the Spanish. So many variations of Spanish as well, right? So just pay attention to how I pronounce them. Molho, mulher, orgulho, lha, lha. You have to touch the side part of your tongues and your teeth, on your teeth. Lha, lha. And the top of your tongue also touches the top of your mouth. Very tricky. Okay, so let's continue. We still have a few minutes. So let's move on to the last topic, which is accent. This is very interesting as well. We have so many accents in Brazil, and that also, of course, influences the way that we pronounce the open and closed sounds in Portuguese. Influences a lot, actually. So we're reaching the end of the class, so I want you to think about questions that you have for me. And then as soon as I finish this part of the class, I will take a look at your questions, tá bem? So if you have questions, type your questions or get ready to type your questions, and then I will go back to the comments to try to help you. So accents also change a lot the pronunciation of the letter O. Of course, not always. So all these examples that I gave you, they usually, all these words, they usually pronounce the same way everywhere in Brazil. But there are some other words that vary depending on the accent. Again, this is also not a rule. This is just a variation of accent, as you probably have many variations in your own language. So I'm going to give you one example. For example, the word coração. Coração means heart. And this word in the northeast of Brazil, or maybe in the entire north, I'm not sure because I don't know. Brazil is big, so I cannot speak for everyone. I don't know all the accents. I know the northeastern accent because I was born there and my family is from there. But even the Northeast is so huge. And also I lived in São Paulo and in the South, so I know these accents well. The other accents, I don't know them very well. So in the Northeast, we usually pronounce the first O very open. Coração, coração, coração. It's an open O. Of course, the last one is a very weak U. Coração, coração. But in the South and Southeast, like São Paulo and Florianópolis, Porto Alegre, they say coração. It's closed. Coração, coração, coração. So, coração, 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 coração. Both are correct. This is just a variation of accent. You see that this is not fit in any other category that I mentioned before. This happens a lot in many words. Many words. Usually the O is in the first syllable of the word. That's the O that varies the most depending on the accent. If you hear, my favorite Brazilian singer is Caetano Veloso, and he's from Bahia, has this beautiful accent, and he does have this open O accent because he's from the Northeast. And the way that he says this word coração is like, oh, so beautiful. But if you hear people from São Paulo speaking, you see, they would say coração, coração. Okay, gente, so this is the exercise, the last exercise of the day. So repeat after me. Let's do, it's like a tongue twister. It's not exactly a tongue twister, but probably it is for you if it is hard for you. So we have two very similar words, and the only difference between these two words is the open and closed sound. So we have the word poço. Poço is a place, it's a well, right? A well with water. Poço. With the C, and it is pronounced with O, closed O. And then we have the word posso, with double S, which is the verb poder. The verb poder means can or to be able to. And it is conjugated for the first person. Posso, with the open O. Posso, posso. And there's this fun sentence just to practice. Repeat after me. Caí num poço, sair não posso. I forgot to add the translation here. It means I fell into a well and I cannot leave it. It's so horrible, but it's a good practice. Vamos lá. Caí num poço, sair não posso. Repeat after me. Caí num poço, sair não posso. Caí num poço, sair não posso. Can you say that 3 times really fast? Caí num poço, sair não posso. Caí num poço, sair não posso. Caí num poço, sair não posso. So this is your homework for today. And while you're typing your questions, your final questions, remember that right after the class, go to my Instagram account and do the challenge. And the challenge is a different sentence here. It's using avô, avó, bolo, and bola. So you'll find my video. I'm posting every day. I'm also doing the challenge with you, of course. You'll find my video on my Instagram. So I recommend that you first watch my video and then record your video so you can imitate me, how I pronounce this sentence. Tá bem? And remember that if you participate in the challenge, you also have chances to win comic books from me. So I think that's it. All right. So now I'm going to read some of the comments and questions. And we are going to have the giveaway in a minute, so don't go anywhere. The last giveaway of the class. Look in your comments. It is like a trava-língua, right? I don't know if the person who created the sentence had this intention. People must be wondering what is going on with Juan. Muito bom. Cachoeira, poço. Que legal. Yeah, poço and poço. I know, it sounds like the same, right? The first one is closed, the second one is open. But the second O, the last O is the same for both words because it is at the end of words, so it sounds like U. Poço, 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 poço. Last final questions, guys. So someone asked me in the last class, this really depends on the computer that you have. So for example, I'm using a MacBook Pro and I just have to, you have to use the international to habilitate, set up the international keyboard, and then you just type the accent first and then the vowel after, and then it works. But I'm sure it really depends on your computer. I'm sure you'll find this information online. You know, you find everything on YouTube. So it's really hard for me to help you from here because I would need to know your computer and it would take a long time. But I'm like 99% sure that you find this on YouTube. Okay, guys, so think about your last questions, and we are going to have the last giveaway in a minute. And Aline is going to pick someone from the comments to help me to win this giveaway. She sent me a question from Jinho Park, and he's asking, this was a while, but I only saw now. I'm sorry about that, Jinho Park. He's asking if he could take the verb conjugation course and the grammar and conversation course together. Yes, so these two courses, let me share with you my screen again so you can see. You can see what I'm seeing here. So the grammar and conversation course is a course that will offer you live classes via Zoom, Q&As with me, and homework assignments and everything. The verb conjugation course is a more self-paced course that you do by yourself. And some content overlaps, but they are also very different because the verb conjugation course covers only verb conjugation, and the grammar and conversation workshop, it's a more comprehensive course on grammar. It covers many topics. in addition to conjugation, right? So they are both, you can totally take both at the same time if you really want to give a boost your grammar knowledge in Portuguese. So definitely you can take both courses. So guys, one last time, I want to remind you that my enrollment for my courses are open this week until Saturday. And if you sign up by tomorrow, I'm giving this special bonus class. Let me just move to my camera so you can see me better. I'm giving this special bonus class on accent reduction. So I'm going to give you lots of tips to speak more naturally in Portuguese, to sound more Brazilian. My intention is not to eliminate your accent. I don't want you to do that. I think accents are beautiful. My intention is to help you speak more fluently, sound more natural, connect better the sentences. So this training will be really useful for you. And I'm giving this training as a bonus for those who sign up by tomorrow. So today's the 19th. If you sign up by tomorrow, April 20th, you get this bonus class. Okay, it will be a 2-hour class with me via Zoom. So these YouTube classes are super fun, but on Zoom we have much more interaction. I can see your faces. You can unmute and ask questions. So it's a much more intense class, and it will last 2 hours training pronunciation. It will be really fun. I'm very excited about this. So if you sign up by tomorrow, any of my regular courses, you get this class, okay? I offer courses for all levels. If you want to learn more about my courses, go to my website, speakingbrazilian.com /courses, and you find all the courses. There's courses for beginners, upper beginner level, grammar courses, and also the membership course, which is for advanced students who want to practice conversation. Tá bem? Any questions? So I see some questions here. So Mitkel is asking, quando é a aula bônus? I don't know, I don't have the date yet. It will be probably by the end of May, because I have to first organize, when I finish the enrollment, I organize all the students. But before that, you have many classes with your teacher and also Q&As with me, but the bonus class will probably be by the end of May. I'll send you the more information after you sign up. And I'll also, of course, I always have the replay. So if by any chance you have to miss the class, you can watch a replay. Muito bom. Any last question? The 50% discount. So I'm giving this discount only for students who have just taken a course with me. If this is your case, Julia, then yes, you can get the discount and the bonus class. This discount is not available for anyone who is not currently taking a course with me, right? Muito bom, Julia. What else? Às vezes eu ouço mais ou mais intercambiado. You mean, mais ou mas? Yes, so that's also accent. The word mas with just the S means but, and the word mais means more or plus. But most of the time most people would pronounce both words the same way. So yes, it's accent. You could say mas or mais. If you're from Rio, it's mais. So yeah, it's just accents. Excelente, gente. Any final question? So it's time for the giveaway. If you still have a question, just type your question, and I still can stay here for a couple of minutes to answer your questions. While you type your questions, let's move on to our last giveaway of today. Who is going to win a comic book? Vamos lá, gente. So while Aline will choose someone from the chat, and I will dance with you. So dance with me. Muito bom, gente. Eleni sent me the names. Just checking if you have any last questions. So, BRFN is asking about nasal sounds. That's tomorrow's topic. So don't miss tomorrow's class. It will not be available publicly on YouTube. You have to sign up for the event. Okay, it's completely free, but you have to sign up. And tomorrow's topic, it's nasal sounds. So I hope you don't miss this class. Okay, muito bom, Kevin. It's reading something out loud 10 minutes each week. That's amazing tip, Kevin. Oh, Carla, I hope you can join one of my courses. Muito bom, gente. So, the winner is Alejandra Berenice. Alejandra Berenice, you are the winner. So, a round of applause for Alejandra. So Alejandra, you are the winner. You are going to receive one of these comic books via mail. So please email Aline at school@speakingbrazilian.com and send her your mailing address so I can send you your gift. So Juan is asking, when is your próximo live? Juan, I'll be here the entire week. But you have to receive the links. You have to sign up to the Brazilian Portuguese week. I'll be here again tomorrow and the day after tomorrow until Saturday. Okay, so we still have more. This is the third class. So we still have 4 classes, and 2 of these classes will be intermediate level. So I think your level is intermediate, if I'm not mistaken, right? So these will be good for you, Juan. Muito bom, gente. So same time tomorrow. I hope I'll see you. Same time tomorrow. We are going to talk about nasal sounds. And I hope I'll see some of your faces on Instagram. The challenge it has been super fun. Beijo, gente. Até amanhã. Tchau, tchau. Celebration song to end.